Captain America Civil War is the long overdue sequel to Captain America the Winter Soldier. And the way the movie starts out is that the United Nations and many people are starting to feel that the Avengers' power in political power is getting out of hand, and that they need restrictions. And when the Avengers start disagreeing on different aspects of this act, it creates a rift between them, which starts basically a superhero civil war. Captain America on one side, and Iron Man on the other side. Let's be honest, most of you are probably going to see this movie if you're watching this review, but regardless, I would still like to give my own opinion of the movie, and do not worry, this is a spoiler-free review, so do not worry about spoilers in this. First off, I gotta get something out of the way. I do not think this is a better movie than Winter Soldier. I know a lot of people would disagree with me when I say that, but honestly, I like Winter Soldier way more. So I might be doing a lot of comparisons, but technically this is a sequel to Winter Soldier, so you're going to hear a lot of comparisons. First off, let's start off with the positives. This is probably the most balanced Marvel movie since Winter Soldier, and that is a very, very good thing. The movie takes a lot of time to set up all the different Avengers of why they feel certain ways about this act, why some of them want to sign it, why some of them don't want to sign it. There's positives and negatives, and you can see where every single person is coming from. Every single person has a complete reason for wanting to join one side or the other. And I think the most unique part about this is that not every single person is wanting to sign it for the same reason. Tony wants to sign it because there's a more emotional aspect that gets to him, while Captain America doesn't want to do it because it's not going to stop the world. In fact, it's going to make things worse. And you can see where every single person is coming from, and that's very good. Not to mention, some of the emotion that hits in the later parts of the movie are absolutely incredible. The biggest problem I had with this movie going in was, is this going to be a war, or is this simply going to be a disagreement? And the problem I had was that I didn't want it to go to one extreme or the other. These people are friends. They don't want to have to fight each other, but they have to. But if they didn't take it extreme enough, this was not going to be fun in some areas. I think they hit the perfect middle ground where these people are out for change, but they do not want to hurt each other. And this really does come later when the emotion hits hard. There's not much I can say about the emotion that comes in later because it's a heavy, heavy spoilers. But trust me, the chemistry that happens between all the characters, specifically Cap and Bucky, is absolutely phenomenal. And while we're on the subject of characters, everybody did a phenomenal job. Robert Downey Jr. probably does his best performance as Iron Man, and I love Sebastian Stan as Bucky because he has this internal moral dilemma, which I think is done absolutely perfectly. And let's get to the two main characters, Black Panther and Spider-Man. So let's start off with Black Panther. Oh my gosh, this guy is awesome. He's a guy who's not afraid to get anything done, and he has some really awesome moments. I thought his character was well thought out, I thought he was surprising, the things he did were absolutely incredible, and I thought the emotion that was behind his character was extremely interesting, especially near the end of the movie. Now, Spider-Man is kind of a complete can of worms. For one, I absolutely loved Tom Holland's Peter Parker. He was funny, he was childish in a way, and he really nailed who Spider-Man is. But there is one problem I have with him. He doesn't really need to be in the movie. They could have removed Spider-Man from this movie, and I honestly felt they could have done it just as well. That might just be me, but I did like Spider-Man in this movie. It's just, he's not necessary. He kind of feels thrown in because now Marvel has the rights to Spider-Man and we have to get him in, and we also have to connect it all the way up to Homecoming, and I just felt it was extremely unnecessary and did not have to be in there. And for the short time that Peter Parker is on screen, he does an absolutely phenomenal job. And kind of building off of that, I feel like there are a lot of things in this movie that are unnecessary. There are a lot of things that the movie thinks it needs, but it really doesn't, and I think that's probably my biggest complaint about the movie. There are some things that hit home and are done absolutely perfectly, but there's several scenes that don't need to be there, or characters who don't need to be there, and I think it just draws the movie out to an absurd length at times. This is more noticeable during the second act, but the first and third act are done absolutely perfectly. It's just, I felt there were points that we didn't need in this movie, but they wanted because they either needed to set up for other movies, or they thought they needed it, but they really didn't. And how this movie does as a Marvel movie, it's great. You got your humor in there, but this is a much more serious toned Marvel movie, and the humor is usually kept to an absolute minimum, but it is in there for all you longtime Marvel fans. And the action is really, really incredible. I feel it's a tiny bit step down for Winter Soldier, but that might just be me. But it is still incredible action. The airport scene that everyone is talking about, yes, it is really good, as they are saying. It is extremely fun, it's emotional, it's funny, it's creative, it's pretty much everything. And the action is just so jaw-dropping and breathtaking, and the Russo brothers did a phenomenal job directing it, just like they did in Winter Soldier. The action's incredible, and it has real emotion put behind all of it, not just it's Battle of New York of, ooh, watch all these pretty visuals and what we can make these 6 Avengers do. It was way more than that, and that's what I absolutely loved about this movie, and what I loved about Winter Soldier. And I think the other thing that this movie does absolutely phenomenally, it is a pretty ballsy movie, especially for a Marvel film. The final note of the movie really is going to change every Marvel movie from now until Infinity War, probably. And it is done absolutely incredibly. And the ending is really, really ballsy, but I absolutely loved it. I'm not really sure how the future of Marvel is going to be with how everything has been changed by Civil War, but if they can continue off of this, I will be absolutely impressed. One thing I also want people to understand is that this is more of an Avenger movie than it is of a Captain America movie. While there is definitely a lot of moments that are pure and are built as only a sequel to Winter Soldier, it definitely feels more like an Avenger movie at times. A lot of people might disagree with me on that, but since you can see where everybody is coming from and not just Captain America, it feels that maybe there's one side that isn't actually doing something right here, and at points that may be Captain America's team. And that's why I feel at points it doesn't need to be a Captain America movie, and this should have just been called Marvel Civil War or the Avengers Civil War. That's not discrediting the movie, it's just personal problem I have with it. Without getting into spoilers, there's not really much more I can talk about. The action's incredible, the humor's on point, it takes an extreme serious tone, the emotion is there everywhere, all the characters have a unique motive, and the movie is absolutely incredible. Similar to Age of Ultron, the only problem I have with this movie is that there's moments that it thinks it needs, but it doesn't actually require. Mostly having to do with characters and plot points. And I know a lot of people have been discrediting the villain in this movie, but I thought he did a serviceable job. He's probably on the better half of the Marvel villains, which is pretty much a good one in Marvel's books. And he had real emotion behind him, but the problem I had was that emotion really wasn't shown until basically the end of the movie. But he did do a serviceable job as the villain, and he did need to be in there despite what some people may be saying. But yeah, if you guys haven't seen Civil War, I would highly recommend it. Like I said, I still think I like Winter Soldier way more, but let me hear your guys' opinions in the comments. If you want me to do a spoiler-filled review, please tell me, because this is a really, really fun video for me to do. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.